Hey, Ryan Michael Galloway here with We Don't Need No Stinking Record Company.com, and we've been talking about larger venues, 300 to 1500 seat, and how difficult it is to put a show on. Now, okay, so what about the PA system? What's that going to run me? Well, for a room, the 300 seat size room, I think you probably get it covered pretty good for around $1,000. For that 1500 seat, bring a standalone PA system in with a big enough board, it's going to start pushing towards $1,800 to $2,200 to cover that. It does depend on how good the company is and how loud you want to be. It's a very difficult job. Setting up for this could easily take 3 to 5 hours, which may extend your time. And for the larger room, there's going to be an extra $200 to $300 an hour. For the smaller room, probably an extra $700 an hour. But more stuff to think about. And by the way, if you got to have lights and sound set up, who does what first? I'd recommend you get the lights set first if you know where the sound equipment's going to go. That way you don't have them tripping all over each other and trying to move ladders in on top of, amps and microphones and big speaker stacks and all that kind of stuff. What would I recommend? Gee, for the 300 seat hall, let's make sure we've got at least 1,000 watts aside. We're not going to use it. We need the headroom. Let's make sure we're bi-amped or tri-amped. And let's make sure we've got enough coverage that the speakers don't just channel the sound, that they spread the sound out a little bit so that there's a sweet spot in the middle. And let's make sure that the bi-amped or tri-amped speakers, you've got bass speakers, that they're not overly loud, because the thing about subwoofers is, obviously they've got a tremendous amount of power. Nothing stops those waves. They go right through walls, and they can overwhelm the sound very quickly. Very, very interesting thing about the low end, especially when you got big subwoofers that are on their own amps and they're only dealing with the low frequencies. Try this sometime if you ever have the chance. Just put the speakers on one side of the stage. At the very beginning, if that's all you're listening to, it'll seem like maybe they feel a little bit like they're on that side. But you bring up the mids and the highs, and I got to tell you, you will have no idea where that bass is coming from. It just has a tendency to spread all over the room. And a lot of times you get bass speakers that are like these folded horns. If you lie them on their side and put them together so they make one big horn, they work a whole lot better if they're over on one side than if you split them up and put one on the left side and one on the right side. Try to cover it that way. That's just a little sound trick for you. So that's some of the considerations around the logistics of this thing. And I might add that the more monitors and more mics you have open, the more challenge you're going to have with feedback. You get a good professional sound company, it won't be all that much. These amps are tuned pretty well, and certainly if you can look for a room that's got curtains behind you, behind where the band stands, that'll deaden things and make the feedback less, because you'll have less ambient sound bouncing all over the room. And finally, if you look out there in the audience and you see people's hair blowing back and them wincing and cringing, you're too loud. And likely you've gotten too loud on stage and taken the control away from your mixer. So turn down on stage so that your PA engineer can put everything through the PA system and mix it properly. So otherwise everything is usually compromised anyway when it comes to sound. Anyway, so that's a little bit about the bigger venues, and I got a few more ideas for you too about how you can lessen the risk if you want to take on a larger venue. I am Ryan Michael Galloway, and We Don't Need No Stinking Record Company.com.